That's weird because like as soon as it as soon as I transitioned from like the intro, it started dropping the frames. So I was wondering if that had to do something with it. But looks like we are all good. So let me again take two. Let me introduce my two people that I have in a call here today. First off, starting off with Miss Katie. Look at she's
Hi.
this bundle of joy right here. How are you doing?
Good. What's going on, Bobby?
You know, being here fucking up, I guess. Huh?
We can't control the internets.
If only
It's
one could.
crazy.
Um, second person I got is, of course, as a returning guest. I had to have him back because he's just such a cool guy, Mr. Chris Bond of PutThatBack.org. How are you, Mr. Sir?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. You tell me. It's EVO 2014. I heard it was a blast. We had many upsets in the results, and you are one of the prime people that people come to, or just to capture the ambience, put it together in these many photos that you have. Most of which, or some of which, that you've already uploaded to PutThatBack.org. So I want you to. So tell me about your experience, man.
I don't know how to describe the experience because there was just so much going on, and the funny thing is that when I was there, I felt like I was there for a week because, well, for one, I didn't get any sleep. I probably got like 12 hours of sleep for the whole entire time that I was hanging out. Like I was hanging out with like Ryan Hart and then Mike Tolkis and then a whole bunch of other dudes, and we were at the roulette table. And next thing I knew, I was like, oh, well, it's tomorrow. And then I'm seeing people like walking to the ballroom. I'm like, I probably should go to sleep.
Now,
Right.
when
And
did you land? When did you actually get there?
let's see. Well, the funny story about that, it was originally I would have arrived on Friday,
Mhm.
and I had to work out the job so that I actually got it on Thursday because I wasn't trying to arrive on Friday. But I actually arrived approximately around like Thursday at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Their time.
Yeah.
So it's a nice 7-hour flight from Connecticut.
Mm.
Really, really long. I only had one layover, which was actually pretty smooth. And then when I got there, they were still like setting up the stage and stuff like that. I missed some of the fun where, before that was even done, because the ballroom is even larger than you saw like in photos or whatever. There's actually like they set up that stage area in front of a significant portion of the whole entire ballroom. So there was actually a part of it that was still sectioned off. So that ballroom is a lot larger than people realize. It's gigantic. But when I got there, people were just now settling in, starting to fly in. Some people apparently like were there as soon as like Tuesday.
Hmm.
So I was feeling really jealous about that because it's always nice to see things when it's in pre-production as opposed to just coming in, it's already built. It really helps you to appreciate the scope and all the time that's invested in putting that together. But it was cool and stuff because I got to get settled in and, get my bearings and catch up with guys like Steph Killian and, guys I haven't seen in a long time and Tragic, like long time OGs. And then obviously all the magic started on Friday. And Friday actually kicked off really well. From a photo perspective, like it really wasn't that much because as I was talking to the other photographers that were officially hired for Evo, Robert Paul, one of the guys from Polygon, just taking event shots of people just sitting there, and I was sitting, if I had a camera on, I would make the faces and stuff, but they're just really stoic faces. Most people don't care about that. It's nice
Right.
for people that are on Facebook say, "Hey, look, that was me. I took a shot." But from an outsider's point of view, it's not really interesting. So a lot of us that had basically come to almost like a unofficial agreement. We're not going to indulge on taking those type of photos as much because they're just not that interesting.
Hmm.
People want to see excitement. They want to see emotion and energy and stuff. This is primarily what Rob focuses on. This is definitely what I focus on. I just don't find it that exciting to always spend a whole digital camera roll taking shots of people just sitting there and people usually are emotionless. They're just sitting there with these sad grim faces and the guys are on the sticks.
Unless you've got Tokido.
Yeah, you got Cotillo, then it's fine. And you got Murder Face, and then it's all like, oh look, it's Tokido, and everybody's all interested in that. But after doing it for as long as I have, and like I told you before, I've been doing it back since like the late '90s.
Oh, right.
But now this is really like kind of like my breakthrough period. It's like because I take it really seriously, and I just told the guys, this is what, I can't wait till it gets hype, because then you see all the funny faces like Chris Carey and stuff, who's already got an image like made in his honor and stuff like that. You got K-Brad's face that's actually, and people just like, oh my God, look at the, but it's cool and stuff because that just resonates more with you. It's goofy and stuff like that. It's just, it's just fun.
It's when you have a picture like that, it'll make the people that are looking at it even sort of almost feel what was going on at that moment, It's like each picture, they say each picture has a story.
Yes.
Right.
And then you can also let your imagination go wild. Why do you think they're jumping up and down, yelling and screaming? Do you think it's because somebody did a great combo? Do you think it's because their competitor just lost? Do you think it's because a buddy of theirs just won?
Right.
I mean, it could be all kinds of stuff. Yeah. It could be because they won a bunch of money.
Exactly. And it's, I'll say it over and over again. It's not even if you understand what the hell you're doing. It's just not as simple as, okay, let me just go take this photo and stuff. Like, I know like when Rob takes his shots and stuff, he's really focused on the hype. So when we hear the crowd and stuff, that we're off and running and stuff. We're like, oh man, let me try to catch up. Because you might not get that same moment again, and you might have missed your shot. Mm-hmm. So like I said before, you're like, hey, how do I get those shots? It really is about trying to be in the right place, the right time and stuff. Because I might have got a good shot at this particular moment. I could have potentially had something else that was going on the opposite side of the ballroom that might have actually needed to be captured, but it wasn't captured. So you can't be everywhere. You can only try to be everywhere. And that's why it's good when you have multiple photographers, regardless if they're fishing on a team or not and stuff, because there's going to be certain moments that, deserve to actually be captured on film. And when I catch those moments and and the shot actually happens to come out good even when after I process it, that's a good feeling for me, especially if I see there's a lot of circulation of that photo. But there's a couple of ones that I've taken that I thought would look good. They don't get any likes, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe I won't take that type of shot. Or usually just tells me the shot just wasn't that interesting. It just seems that from my analysis of it, people love seeing emotion. They just love seeing. I like seeing the hype and stuff. If it's just kind of sitting there with a grim face, there's not really much to it unless it's a popular player like Tokido. Then that's it.
Well, while you're talking about that, again, I mentioned during the introduction of the show that some of the EVO 2014 photos that you've taken and messed around with are up on your website, ptbpro.org, in one of the esports folders. So I'm going to run a bit of a slideshow. See some of the so these folks that are listening in or watching could see some of the photos that capture some like the really good action moments, like the really hype moments of Evo, especially. I mean, just look at the spectators and all that stuff. Now, hold on, let me get a screen cap up here. Okay, so you were saying that although from an outsider's perspective, some of these photos can see a bit maybe dull. I don't want to say dull. That'd be a bit insulting, but stoic at least, and just not
they're just
capturing
flat.
it. Yeah, they're just flat, just not capturing anything. But
that particular shot, these first two shots are literally day zero. Well, the first shot was day zero. This literally is day one with Markman. Which I thought was like really cool just to put it in black and white. We're all trying to show just how many people are waiting to get inside, and I thought that was a really cool shot and stuff. Just because everyone's like, man, I can't wait to start. And then this is like the DJ and whatever, and it was just cool. Because I know obviously Evo was still growing. They always try to do things differently, and I thought, it'd be cool to just to start the whole album. Capturing that moment before it gets to like all the big time shots and stuff, all the shots that a lot of people have come to value from stuff like CEO. And like I said, the stuff that Rob and all the other guys like capture on the film and stuff. But then I got to the point I was like, okay, I'm bored. I don't want to do these shots anymore, because I knew that there was going to be 3 more days behind me. I knew there was going to be way more energy. And I already told you I took 3,000 photos. I didn't want to go through 3,000 photos where it's just, these boring shots. I want to capture more moments where people are hyped and it's like, oh man, you saw it. It's like, man, I really wonder what happened there and stuff. So that's why you don't see as many shots unless it's somebody that came from an international, area, or whatever, or somebody like Jabali and whatnot. But I just says, you know what, I'll do a couple of them because I still know that there's people that get a kick out of see themselves in the shot and then they'll take the shot, they'll crop it and stuff. So I don't want to alienate those people that I know still value when I take the photos.
Right.
I just don't want to make it the primary focus because as I've come to understand, a lot of people like when I do the event crowd shots, Capcom actually being one of them, which I had the honor and luxury of being able to do that for them at PAX. But I like to still keep my options open and stuff when I'm doing the shots.
Okay, so what were one of your favorite moments that you captured there, in your lens?
Favorite moment at Evo?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, it's really hard to whittle it down to one. So let's just recap some of your favorite moments that you captured in your lens during at Evo.
I would have to say one of the big ones that I had and stuff, and I think I already have one of them with the trophy. It definitely would have to go to Sonic Fox, and the reason being is when I met that kid in Philly about approximately 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first. He was actually the first prodigy I've met like in a long time, other than Noah. So this is a guy that in the background, like I've watched his career like develop, and within just this year alone, he's been putting a lot of work. Like he's coming off a tear, winning final round, winning CEO, and then he wins Evo.
Yeah.
So this is a kid and stuff that really plays with his heart. Really is very focused about showcasing his talent and then winning something as big as Evo. Like, I mean, that's a big deal. And when I capture shots of him and his brother Christian, they always laugh and stuff because they feel I take some of the best photos of them. And that meant a lot to me and stuff because, they have a really, obviously their family and stuff, but to be able to capture that love that the two of them share on film, especially since they both have a fighting game background, to me that's really rich and stuff. And every time I see those guys, I always try to go on my way if I'm at an event with them to capture a moment where the two of them are celebrating their victories or just having a brotherly embrace and stuff. So it has to go to those guys. I think the second one, even though he says he looks ugly, is to CD Jr. because that's another dude that also played. Everybody really played it hard. I'll put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
But for the guys that were winning, there were a couple people that were going, "Oh my God, look, this guy's crying and stuff." And it's like, no, you know what? That's love right there. This is a guy that really wanted it, and that's joy. That's not a weakness and stuff. And, again, capturing stuff like that. Like I had one photo that someone told me, he's like, yo, hands down, like that's the photo. So capturing stuff like that, me being able to look back on it, regardless of the number of likes, I still take joy of that because that's a timeless moment. It's always good to have, shots like the one of Dominion and L.I. Joe there, which is really cool. Because you don't really get to see a lot of nice moments like that where people are together. I used to do that a lot. But when I can capture nice victory shots like that or something like I said with Sonic Fox and his brother, Mr. Quiggles, it's cool, And it's not always easy and stuff, especially when you have the challenge of indoor lighting. And Evo was the first time I actually shot professionally with these cameras and stuff. So I'm always a little concerned that if I take the shots, if they're going to come out to the highest level that I want them to be.
Of course.
But after I started running to the camera roll and I went through stuff, long before I showed it to the Canons and Mr. Wizard, I was like, okay, I said, you know what? I says, I can wing this because when you're doing shots, especially of the players, it's really like frowned upon to take shots with the flash because it can be very distracting.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to really know how to, use the camera and be able to get a certain level of ambience and stuff and not have the details washed out and stuff, to make up for the fact that, that the lighting's not that great. You're going by floodlights and just like the other type of lights.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard and stuff because when you get there were so many hype moments. Like there was one that I haven't even put on film, put online yet, where the guys were for the Smash community, which there were tons of great moments. There was like one with this guy with Pikachu, And they were just like going in and stuff, and I'm just sitting there. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like if I knew that he potentially would have did that, and it's spontaneous. You don't expect this guy might get up and go in front of the stage and and do a little dance or whatever, but it just happens. So your camera has to be ready. You have to just like literally sense, you know what, something can happen anytime, and I got to be there to capture it. If you're not there, somebody else is going to get it and stuff. And I'm not saying it's a thing for competing, but if you're just trying to be the one that captures that shot, obviously you might have two other photographers. They're going to capture a different angle, but you're trying to get a shot for your own portfolio.
Of course.
So I'm always like, man, I want to be able to capture that shot. And if I get it, I look back and it looks sharp, I'm like, all right, cool. That's a victory for me, and I feel really good about that and stuff. But there are times you get a shot and it's like, like the shutter was too fast or it was too slow or the lighting was bad, it overexposed and stuff. And this is typically why most photographers will either put it on a continuous shot or they'll just take multiple shots and they hope that the person will pop off again and stuff. But you may not get that chance and stuff. So, like I said, it's not easy,
Definitely. So, how did it feel now? Not as just a photographer, not as you doing your job, but how did it feel being a spectator, capturing all of these great moments? Sonic Fox winning his first ever Evo at such a young age, or CD Junior, the favorite of the East Coast to win KI. Like all of these powerful moments. I mean, they were there. We as stream monsters, we watched them. We're like, wow, but we weren't there. You were there. So how did that whole ambience of this raw emotion impact you?
It's funny and stuff because obviously I didn't go to compete, which would have been nice. I did that back in 2012. But when you're there, obviously, just as a spectator, the energy level is totally different. You sit there and you look at the stream, you can kind of have an idea. It's not the same though. It's just not the same. It's almost like you sit there, you watch an epic movie with other people in the audience versus you sitting there with your family and you watch it on DVD. It's different.
Right.
So when I'm there and the best time to actually be and really appreciate the event is finals day or basically the last day leading up to it. But to be fair, every single day was crazy and stuff. It's just that by the time we got to finals, and every single game for finals was insane. I cannot say, oh, you know what, this one was it was okay. No, every game was retarded. It was just off the chain. King of Fighters and stuff, Injustice, KI, and you're sitting there like when CDG beat Justin, nothing against them and stuff. I was just like, whoa, I didn't see that coming, and then you just see the energy levels and people are getting excited, and then you capture the moment like some of these guys and stuff, when they're sitting there and they're just screaming at the top of their lungs, or again, like I said, you got like all caps and stuff, and he's making 1,000,001 faces, and it's just like, man, it's like, I got caught up in it too,
Of course.
and it's undescribable. You can't help but actually just want to get involved. And I mean, if you do, you're dead. And so you're just sitting there like, who sits there at the finals and just kind of sits there and just does a golf clap? That's unheard of.
Yeah.
You're meant to engage and get interactive. That's what it's all about. It's all about raw energy that is like so difficult to tame. You don't want to tame it and stuff. You just want to get all hype and worked up, and the competitors feed off of that too. At least most of them. You got some guys that just use the headphones. But it is what it is. When I sat there, even though I was taking photos, yeah, I was definitely like sitting right there at one point on the stage. I'm just like, whoa, like look at this, whoa. Especially like when I watched like Luffy play. Like his performance was off the hook, and I did not expect that guy to play the way he did, and so I was really amazed. And I'm sitting there for people that were like on the sidelines. It's just like wow, just nonstop.
Yeah, these are some great pictures. I mean, they're really, yeah, definitely really well done. You can definitely feel, all the excitement and everything, all the life in these pictures, man. Some of them are really good.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. So, like a lot of the photos when I was doing it, last one is Pastor Kendra, and then you got the ones of Sonic, and it's just the cool thing is I forgot who I was talking to. It was somebody from CEO, and they were like, just take your time, and that's always cool to hear that because obviously they know that when the photos are done, they're gonna come out good. And then I looked at it too. I was like, well, especially since I wasn't put directly on the commission to have these done in a certain time frame. Which if it did, there would have been a lot of pressure, which is another story in itself. But I'm like, okay, since I'm not on a tight schedule, that gives me time to really go through the photos, really look at the ones that I think is actually awesome and, or not awesome and stuff, and just put them up. Because in the end and stuff, once they're all said and done, everyone's going to love them. Everyone's going to go through them and appreciate them and stuff. And that's it. That's the funny thing is that I'm nowhere done. I literally said I took over 3,000. That's not an exaggeration. I literally took over 3,000 photos. One photo, one card alone, I literally did about 2,400 photos.
Wow.
Not saying 2,400 photos are going to go up, but that just gives you an idea why it takes so long for me to go through stuff.
Well, I mean, the largest fighting game tournament in the world over 3 days, or even 4 if you go in a bit early and meet up with people. I mean, there's a lot of things to capture there.
And there were a lot of moments and stuff like when Prague did his speech. I definitely felt for the brother and stuff, because of his health reasons, and he's like, he's stepping away, and he's an icon and stuff to the Smash community and stuff like that. Both him and D1, when I look at it, when I think of one of those guys, I have to think of the other guys because they literally come as a pair. So to see the fact that he's taking a step back and that Esteban was able to to capture a whole entire moment on film, and then I was able to capture some of those moments and stuff. With a photo and stuff, it's good because it makes you go back and say, yeah, you know what? I remember such and such happened and stuff, and that's what it's really about, the memories.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I thought it was amazing when, oh my goodness, just there were so many epic moments. I can't even name them all, but I think my favorite was when Justin won Marvel. He got up out of the chair and then he just ran across the stage and he just dove across the stage.
Yeah,
I was like,
no, he didn't dive. He didn't dive. That dude fell. He took a tumble for Marvel, and I respect that.
He literally dived.
He dove across. Yeah, he was he went and then he kind of slid. It was crazy. I was like, man, I think I would have done the same thing. I wouldn't have known what to do with myself.
He did dive kick right, but he was blown away, and I was really happy because I've known, I knew Justin before Justin became.
What was that? Okay, a little bit of technical difficulty.
It's like, damn, what the hell? What's going on and stuff? But he grinded out and he grinded out, and and it was just good. I just felt like it came full circle. That guy's wanted to win again for so long, and and he's just had people that just kind of stepped in, Chris G and Flocker and stuff like that, and now he's making this triumphant victory and stuff, and he earned it and stuff. No one can take that away from him and stuff. He worked really hard to get back to where he wanted to be. So it was a very well deserved victory. We were all happy. I doubt there was anybody in there who was like, man, Justin should have won. It's like, come on, man. He was literally the person that took the place of Eddie Lee and stuff. And then when and he won for years, consistently, people were like, damn, I can't beat Justin. So it's good to see that he had that. I was really happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that grand finals could have gone either way. I would have been happy if either Justin or Chris G. I mean, that whole top 8 was just completely phenomenal.
It was different, and that's what I liked. We obviously expected, Ricky was going to win. Snake Eyes for being that you mentioned that.
He played really well.
Really well, Ricky.
Yeah.
Really well, because for the people that bet that and says, well, I guess Ricky's going to take this, and you would expect that and stuff. It's like, it's Rick, it's Ricky Ortiz. He plays one of the best, strongest Rufus in the world, I'm not even going to say America, in the world. The guy is extremely solid.
Oh, yeah.
And then for him to go against Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes has the patience of a saint. And on paper, you would say, well, I guess Zangief is going to lose. And then here, Snake Eyes just throws that, that analysis right out the window. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Yeah, it was intense.
No, I didn't see that coming. And the thing was, it's for that particular moment, he broke Ricky because Ricky is normally easily able to get on people, dispatch them, adapt and stuff on the fly and do it. And then for whatever reason, for that particular match, he could not break him. His defense was on point. And he's just sitting and I'm watching him. He's doing the whole time. He's literally trying to just chip him away because that's the way you play Zangief. You just work him down, You chip, and he's just sitting there. Says, nope. You know what? I'm just gonna pick my moments, and you're gonna mess up, and when you mess up, I got you. And that's what he did. And he did it consistently. And I've never seen someone able to outperform him at that level with Zangief. So Snake Eyes deserves a lot of credit, man.
Yeah.
A lot of credit. He's a very solid player.
Yeah, Evo was crazy. I mean, I've been to the last 3 Evos, and from what I saw on stream and everything, and what people were saying in Facebook and phone calls and whatnot, this one sounded totally different.
This was the best Evo I've ever went to, and I'm not even sure, Conan. That shit was real. Like, I just said, man, if Evo is like this every year, then I'm not missing Evo ever again, because it blew me away.
I think some of the reason why Evo was so big was because people were so excited about Ultra. I mean, with that, you don't know where that's going to go.
No, it breathed new life into the game.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not totally a new game, but it was new enough where the matchups and the tweaks he did to it, Peter's worked really hard on the game. I talked to him offline about the stuff, and he deserves way more credit than a lot of people are giving him. I'm not going to get into all of it because I don't know how much he wants me to disclose, but the best thing I'm going to say about this was that a lot more credit to Ultra should be given than people realize and stuff, because we can talk about, okay, you know what, they should just go to number 5 and whatever. Yes, it's obvious they milk the game, but look at where the game has been since vanilla and look where it is now. And if you would have basically went 5 years ago and said, look, you know what, like, we're going to have a guy named Luffy, he's going to come in, he's going to win a Rose, and you would be the laughing stock of your circle and stuff. He's like, nah, no way, get out of here. Sagat's going to win that for free. Or Daigo's going to win that. You would never expect it. You would totally discount that. And here this guy did it.
Yeah.
Consistently. And now because of that, we have like a million, ShamWow players and stuff currently on Xbox Live and play because they can be Luffy. I believe in Luffy. I can win. Nah, get out of here. It's more than that. But he breathed so much life in the game. I actually had it pegged where, had Wolf Throne still been playing, I would have expected he would have been in the top 8. I expected Ricky to be in the top 8. I expected PR Rod to be in the top 8. I expected Infiltration to be in the top 8. I expected Daigo to be in the top 8. Half those guys weren't there.
Yeah.
Daigo got somewhere around 47th or something like that.
I think 2,000 people entered that game, and the Evo staff went through. They knocked down a huge percentage of that in one day. And then they picked it back up when they went into day 3. So that right there, you can say whatever you want about Ultra. That right there told me that people want to still play Ultra.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know what? People want to play Marvel.
Yeah.
People want to play Marvel, and I hope something can be figured out. I mean,
what needs to be figured out?
They're gonna release a tweak at some point. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen. It's just because the Capcom is not prepared to release 5, and it took them over 10 plus years to do Street Fighter 4. They dabbled back and forth. They wanted to do it years ago, and it was like, nope. And then when they finally decided they were going to do it, it's like, okay, cool. You know what? Let's try this and stuff. And 4 honestly wasn't supposed to work. Originally, when they were going to do 4, it was going to play something like Street Fighter EX. And then they says, nah, we're going to make it play 2D, which was smart.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
I probably would not be as excited about Street Fighter 4 if it was Street Fighter EX. Nothing against Min's game. It's just that I like the traditional 2D style. And I feel that it works. Now I wish they would take another step further visually and made it more like Tekken, because I want to see an even more realistic style. Ono wants that more cartoony style. But I feel that eventually it's going to get to a point where people are going to see, they're going to want to see basically more, I guess, another layer of realism that we just haven't really tapped into yet.
I think, with how advanced everything is getting with, graphics, what's going to happen is that, to me, it's always seemed like Street Fighter was always that little bit more cartoonish, rounded kind of look,
Yeah.
And I think maybe the next version that we're going to see, it's going to be a little bit more, not necessarily real, but more 3D-ish. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mean to say 3D like Tekken. It's not going to be like
Right.
that. It's going to be like, you know, I don't want to say cartoonish, but it's going to be, it's
More
not going to be like Tekken.
I
But it's
wanna
going to be,
see-
it's going to be like Street Fighter, but, it's hard to say.
I mean, the funny thing was when coming in the series, and I played every Street Fighter there is and stuff, but the funny thing about Street Fighter 4 was that when it was first introduced to actually E3 like over 5 years ago, and I did actually like it a lot. I loved it so much that I actually forgot about my appointments at E3. I was actually there as media, and I just kept coming back to Capcom, kept talking to Seth, and I kept talking to the other guys, and I couldn't stop playing the damn game. And it's like, and the funny thing is that, as time went on, I was like, I don't like Street Fighter 4 as much and stuff. There was just something about it. It just like I lost the love for it. But when the game first came out, I went back. I told everybody trying to fan, I said, dude, wait till you play Street Fighter 4. This is so awesome. And they was like, what? And I was like, it's sick,
Yeah.
And obviously they still have a love for it, but a lot of the OG people don't care for it because the hitboxes are stupid. Things and stuff that shouldn't happen. People love doing YOLO moments and stuff. You have a meter that you can cancel out, so it doesn't properly condition players to make real smart decisions, because you're like, oh, cool, I missed. Well, good thing I have meter because I can just cancel that and stuff. And it's retarded and stuff, because now that they've tweaked that, it's created an uproar. Like, wait, you mean to tell me if I do a DP, it's -5? Well, that's not fair. Well, no. Well, welcome to Street Fighter OG, guys. Back then you had to commit to the decision. You had to make a calculated decision. That was it. And if you messed up, you lived with it. That was Street Fighter. So I'm glad that they actually are trying to bring some of that back, because these players go in there and they pick up some quick mechanics that they learn off of YouTube or whoever, and then that's all they learn. They forget about footsies and then they get blown up.
Yeah.
Why did I lose? And and the sad thing is that no one. What I really wish that one day would do, and I don't care about R&D costs. Take the time to get a little video or a little segment, include it as a pack on, and teach this generation what real fundamentals are. Because right now, a lot of them don't have it. What they have are, they learn how to do combos. Their execution can be really, really good, but they miss the most important part, which is why they still lose to the PROGs and the Justins and the Tokitos and whatever and stuff, because they don't learn that. And it's sad because, we've catered to trying to make it so more mainstream and stuff that we're really insulting our players. We're basically saying you're incapable of learning that. So here, we'll just give you these dumbed down mechanics and stuff, and you just go nuts.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that, as if that they're actually demeaning the new blood, because
it is, man. It is. Because when EO came out, when they released Capcom versus SNK EO.
Oh, okay, right. That's a completely different tangent, just because. CVS. It gives you the option to not even use EO anyway.
Yeah, it was just so bad, and I was just like, oh my god, I was like, please don't do any more stuff like that, like, this is bad, it's so bad. And with focus attacks, I remember one of my friends, I used to play with him on Long Island. When we had attacks, he hated it so much because he was like, he's like, I hate this. He's like, because it's not a real parry. And back then, he didn't like parries. And I said, well, I don't mind that. All I want is the fundamentals. I don't like FADC because now you're conditioning players. You're telling them that they can do a 50-50 mix-up. Our 50-50 mix-up, we created that. We didn't have meter for that back then. So when you got a lot of players, you go, damn, I don't understand why Jason Cole or why Vae or, who's adapted, or even myself, why is this person complaining? It's like, because you have to understand, we didn't grow up with that shit at all. And that's why I kind of wish that's fine. You want to introduce new characters, you want to introduce mechanics, that's fine. But don't take that traditional mechanic and downplay it to the point and stuff where you have new people that come in and think that it's okay, and they think that's Street Fighter. I don't care if it's a new generation. Just don't dumb it down to that point when stuff where you just really change the whole dynamic of why people like myself got into the game, because I like to be outplayed. I don't like to be out gimmicked.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, but I'll just say the example that you were using with Capcom vs SNK2 EO. Now, the difference between that and the focus attack mechanic in Street Fighter 4 is that, like, seasoned players, especially ones that grew up in, like, the arcades and started building these fundamentals for themselves, they can use focus attack to their advantage. As in, like,
Yeah,
are you really serious? Like, they're not gonna dumb themselves down by going to EO. That's not really the better way of playing the game.
right.
It's something that both new blood and veterans alike can, take advantage of. And I do agree with you when you say that developers need to, since this is like the age of information.
Hmm.
Instead of just I'm just gonna go up on YouTube and look at all these matches, or I'm just gonna X copy whatever X player does. Is
Right.
that put that into your game. Put a strategy guide into your game. Teach them what the frame advantage is. Like what
Right.
is safe and what the concept of being safe and not safe. Um,
Hmm.
which was definitely a cue that NetherRealm Studios attempted to take with Injustice. That in the practice modes you get all the information fed to you, but
Right.
you don't really know what that means. If a DC comic enthusiast picked up Injustice and they're like, oh, I can do let's see, I can do the green arrows, one of his arrows. But then he looks at all these numbers, like what's the advantage and
Right.
disadvantage, like what's all of that? Developers need to put this sort of a sort of glossary, maybe a video tutorial in the game
Break it down.
that gives you an
Yeah.
entire breakdown on how things work. That way, it'll give them a really good idea of how these competitive players are thinking. So the next time they go online, they're like, you know what? Okay, so if they throw a fireball and I jump, I'm going to have more than enough time to react to that fire, to whatever's being thrown at me. Or I could bait it out of him. We could teach baiting, the concept of the mix-ups and all that sort of thing. Because there was a quote, or someone said this like a while ago. It's like new people don't have mix-ups because they don't even know the concept of mix-ups to begin with. So of course they're going to be in this one train thought of like, oh, I'm going to do like the strongest combo. I'm going to go ahead and try to do the highest damage and try to just beat my opponent down. When of course 9 times out of 10 that won't work on a seasoned player.
Right.
But I mean,
like footsies is something that's really hard to understand. That's why I made the sarcastic post I did a while ago and stuff,
Right.
because I try to explain it to a lot of people, and there's only a couple of people that I've trained with, and one by far is like the best person I've ever trained. But you try to explain it to a lot of different people, and they don't get it. You try to
That's
explain
right.
that, and to them, footsies is literally sitting on down back. It's button checking. It's doing everything that they're not supposed to be doing, and they don't get it. And it's a concept.
I think a lot of people won't get it until they experience it firsthand, and then it's an aha moment. I mean, I know that in the last 2-3 weeks, I've had a couple aha moments where I've been
Yeah.
trying to like narrow down on certain things. And, one of them was blocking while walking back. I didn't know I could do that. I
Right.
was like, wait a minute. This means I don't have to press like down back. I can actually stand and block. And then while they're like, extending their arm, you can be moving back and you can just walk out of the situation.
Right.
That was totally foreign to me. I didn't know you could do that, So I think until some of these people experience this stuff, they just don't, they don't get it. Another thing that does help is going to tournaments. The more
Yes.
tournaments that you go to and get the casuals and play against however many people, something happens. I know every time I go home, I'll sit there for like a day or two just trying to recover from the tournament.
Right.
And then I think, man, I learned usually it's just one step. It's one like little level to something
Yep.
else, but it's one level higher that I know now than I was last time.
Yeah, and the cool
Yeah.
thing about Evo, the segue back on that, is that even though I didn't compete, I still try to make time for some casuals to play against different people and stuff, which because I love offline so much better, like online so bad. So I says, okay, you know what, this is my perfect time to rub shoulders against other people, and I took a couple of L's here and there, but that's the time I value, and it's really that's the time that anyone going to Evo, you should value. Now, if you want to sit there and throw your money and stuff and play Ryan Hart and get bodied and stuff just because you want to play for the experience, that's fine. But you should really get something out of it. And I think a lot of times people miss the point of that. So you'll get people that will go, they'll play someone like, any top player. And then they lose, they don't ask questions.
Right.
Okay. That's the worst thing you can do, especially if you're playing for a money match or whatever, is you need to find out what you're doing wrong. And hopefully they will actually answer you and say, well, you should have did this and you should have did that. Most of the guys are not going to bite as long as you're not like a tool about it, and then ask them. And even if you don't play someone as a top player, even if you just play someone that's a little bit more competent than you, just ask questions. I think that most people just are afraid to open their mouths and literally understand why they've lost or what they're doing wrong. Because if you're looking to go back into the tournament, especially if you went in and said, well, I went 0-2, well, there's probably a reason for that. And sometimes it's nerves. But a lot of times it's just a lack of experience. They play a small circle of people and they just don't get it. So you have to open your mouth and say, okay, why am I losing? Can you help me out? Help me to understand what I'm doing wrong. So the next time I get into that scenario, forget the player, because it's really supposed to be about the matchup. Or rather, the player, what the player is doing. Not, I'm playing Justin Wong, I guess I'll lose. No. You're playing Rufus, so what are you supposed to do against Rufus? Or what are the tendencies? And analyze that and then just go ahead and do that. That's what I really feel a lot of people do that, but they don't. So they keep going to tournament, they keep getting bodied, and then eventually they say, well, I guess I'm not going to go anymore. I'll just be a stream monster.
Yeah.
That's the wrong attitude. That's the wrong attitude. So I had a great time, man. And I definitely have to put in plans. I'm going next year.
Well, actually, since we were on this conversation, there's actually a bit of a conversation going on in the stream chat. So I'm just gonna shout out a couple of these guys' comments and questions, so that we can probably just pick up off them and then see where it goes from there. So, well, first of all, I'm gonna get this out of the way. Ninja CW asked Chris, can he finish giving me my training session that I was promised? That is all. GG's.
Yeah, Ninja CW is actually one of the guys that's talking about. And he's actually getting training directly from my other student. And the cool thing about him, he's the perfect example of somebody that actually really wanted to get better. And when I first played him and stuff, he was already solid before when I met him.
All right.
My other my prodigy and stuff would not admit that. It's just that he needed to fine tune that. So, my whole process is if I talk to someone about that, I just try to go through the basics. Then eventually I'll pass them on to him, because my other friend Salim is like an encyclopedia and he's studied the game to death. So I says, if you really want to advance your game, then you need to go play him, because he'll really help to nip in the bud any type of tendencies you have, because he's spent the past year or two fine tuning that, and he's held L's for many, 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 years. So the great thing about that, Ninja, is that we will go back to that. But according to what I've heard, your training is nearly complete. So now you just need to go to tournaments and stuff and get top 8, like I told you.
Using Ninja CW as an example, because if people don't know him, Ninja CW is actually a really great Dead or Alive player.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best in the business. But it's just because you're good in one game doesn't mean that you might be, well versed in, any other game that you might pick up. He's taken, various top places in DOA, but he's only just begun to explore these different games. He comes over to Cleveland to play Injustice. He plays over, he comes over to Cleveland to play Ultra Street Fighter 4 and all these types of games. It's they require a different or varied set of fundamentals to actually, play with your mind right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really great that
I used to play DOA, so I know. Mm-hmm. I know, but you still need footsies to a degree.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Always, and any sort of a 2D. Oh, not even 2D. Sorry, fighting game to play.
It's not all button mashing. If you want to play correctly at high level, you still need to understand some footsies. Yeah. And I'm sure Sonic Fox can tell you that if he was here.
Oh, definitely.
So.
We might need to get him on.
You probably like that.
Jason 24 CF, Jason LeBoy of Event Hubs, he says, I understand the complaints of Street Fighter 4, but games evolve, so the older generation players should as well. Skills will always win out no matter no matter what. Putting other players down does nothing but add fuel to the hate of old school players versus 09ers. Now, this
He's absolutely correct.
yeah, he's absolutely correct, and this is going back to what we're saying about, just because they put in these new mechanics doesn't mean that they, necessarily give the newer blood an edge, because the old schoolers, or people who grew up in arcades and refine these fundamentals over time can take advantage of that as well. I mean, the ultra combos, like, oh yeah, a player at like a new school player at face value will go to Street Fighter 4, and someone will use an ultra combo on him and be like, oh, what the hell was that? That
Right.
just took like half my health. This game is stupid. But he fails to realize that, hey, you guys are given the exact same tools, at base value, as your opponent. So
He's absolutely correct.
yeah, definitely going back to what we say about, developers should put in, how to effectively play the game. And especially with all of these, this terminology that we use, especially like, since I'm going to say that the fighting game community is a close knit community, so people won't know what, trip guarding is, or people that might not know how overheads work, or attacks that break focus, all of these things that are really new and fresh to the new blood, the new player. Developers, if they really want people to come back and buy their subsequent games, they really have to get them up to speed. Just right from the get go.
Yeah, well, Big. I mean, I remember when I first came back in, I did an interview with Biggie. We talked about that a long time ago and stuff. And he's like, that era is gone. It is gone. It's not coming back. So you have a choice in one of two things. You can either walk away, or you can adapt. And that's what you're supposed to really do and stuff. And and I didn't always agree with stuff, but at the same time, I really wasn't putting in the same amount of work and time as most of my peers, which I'm starting to do now in between all the photography and stuff. So I would never dismiss any new generation player as a whole and just say, well, okay, you're only winning because this is Street Fighter 4. No, because at the end of the day, the footsies are still there, or the fundamentals are still there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Because
I know at one tournament, I had played against, this one experienced player, and I thought I was going to, I didn't think I was going to win, but I thought I was going to do pretty well. And I tried playing the most textbook Vega I could. Pokes, being, not overly aggressive, just really kind of taking my time, being real safe. And man, he knew, it took him, I'm not even going to say it took a round. It took like 3/4 of a round to figure out and adjust. And once he started adjusting, and then I tried to adjust to what he was doing, and he was always a step or two steps ahead. I just couldn't catch up. And that's when experience comes in and really just blows the new people that are still trying to pick up things.
Right.
Or like you said, the people that might not be the, you said the word earlier, the younger guys that are coming in, like CJ Truth and, like the prodigies.
Yeah.
The people that aren't, like that. It takes longer for them to get.
Some more than others
Yeah.
and stuff, Like so I'll use Ninja as an example. So when we first ran into Ninja, because I know he was a DOA and we used to play, he had a lot of raw talent. Now, 3 weeks later, like, he's just running around and he's frustrating my prodigy because of the character he's using. And that just goes back to the principle that you're only as strong as your competition. So if you keep playing nuts, you're gonna play like a nut. You're gonna have nut strategies. You're gonna do stupid stuff. You're not gonna really evolve when you play someone that fully is experienced, understands the game, can throw red herrings at you, and that's it.
Yeah.
You play somebody that basically is going to be more solid, and yeah, you can say it's rock, paper, scissors, or whatever, but you gain a much better understanding of what you're supposed to do. This is why ultimately it's better to play above average or top players if you can.
Of course.
Because you're not going to evolve as much, and you can just do it to fill your own ego. It's like, oh, look, I bought everybody around the block, but have you really improved? No. No, you haven't, because you're playing scrubs. You're playing people that don't really make smart decisions, or they just don't care about getting better. And this is why typically I try to surround myself around good people, or at least like really solid training partners and stuff like that, because I don't want to pick up those bad habits. You know, people need to do the same thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I think it was actually Afro Cole, and I think he was like saying the exact same thing that you were. So again,
You wouldn't know, man. You wouldn't know.
Oh, of course, he's been around for what, like
No,
60, 70 years.
no.
I mean,
He's that dude, man.
Oh my god.
You wouldn't know.
I mean,
God's doing stuff all day.
but you know what? Since we're talking about things like this, I want to bring up a very important article here that I'll just go in the stream chat. But it's by a guy named Maj. Now, if you guys don't know who Maj is, he's a guy who works on SonicHurricane.com. He's the one that gives you all of these really crazy combo videos and all this match analysis.
Is this the Footsie's article? Because that's the one I make everybody read.
Yes, this is the Footsie
Everybody
handbook.
should. Yep.
I have this in a text file on my Nook, on my little Nook tablet.
It's the best one ever.
It is the best, especially for people who not only that are new and want to know the ins and outs of how to play a fighting game, but for people who want to revisit the strengthening their fundamentals. I'd say this article is the best for people who feel that they plateaued.
Yep.
Now, if you go, if you go ahead and body everybody on the block, or people that you meet up with, but you go out to these tournaments or otherwise regional or meetups that are outside of your town, and you're like, dude, these guys completely wiped the floor with me. I mean, it doesn't even matter in any game, Street Fighter, Marvel, Injustice, Dead or Alive, or whatever. But
yep.
the Footsie's handbook is definitely for people who just want to revisit, get a refresher, because we all, and for people who have done this, and I've especially done this, who just take a break from games for a while, and just read up on things, read up on analyses and techniques, not just X copying either. This just gives you a really great insight on how.
And there's another one that I want to add. I'll post it for you in case you want to post in the stream.
Okay.
That I just came upon because I wasn't even aware that he actually made it, and that's our man Juicebox. He actually broke it down in a way that really spoke to a lot of people, and it's really popular. It's got over 21,000 views, and and obviously he understood the game, before he moved on. So I was really happy to see he did that, because sometimes people respond to visual stimulus,
right?
No,
and that's completely fine.
It's just like, what? Nah, I don't get that. You see it and you hear it, you're like, oh, okay, So definitely shout outs to him for that too.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna link this in the stream chat right now. For future reference in the archives or the YouTube videos that I'll be posting, any and all sorts of content that are hosted on Meterburn will be featured on the description of the YouTube or Twitch archive. So the Street Fighter handbook, or the Footsie's handbook by Maj, Juicebox's explanation of Footsies in that video, that 50-minute video, and well, I'll say right now, some not safe for work language is used there, but I don't really think we care about that. Juicebox has a really bold way of explaining things, and some might feel a bit uncomfortable. I actually watched that video before, and it's all like, you may seem like he's talking down to you in a way, but if you really just look past all that, it's a really great video to feast your eye on for the full length. So those two are going to be up. The Evolution 2014 that Mr. Chris has posted on ptbpro.org will be on there as well.
And as far as the whole talking down, honestly, It's good that you actually mentioned that because I thought about it for so long. I remember when I started reintegrating with the Chun community, and I sat there for years and I watched all these aspiring Chuns and doing stuff, and I just saw way too much. I saw too much hand holding in a sense and stuff that no one was really getting anywhere. And so, now compared to when I talk to people, I'm just a lot more blunt about stuff,
Right.
because it's just like, look, if you're doing the same results and it's just not getting through, then it's time to try something different. So I literally told one guy today, and I watched the video. I couldn't even finish it because I was disgusted. Because he ran to like 4 fireballs. And like the only time I feel that should happen, you're playing somebody like John Choi, who's like excels at using fireballs like footsies. Right. But this guy just ran into the fireballs, and he might as well just held down forward because he just kept getting hit. And I says, what are you doing? He says, well, I meant the crouch on reaction. I said, no, you ran into them. You're a magnet to these fireballs. Like, what are you doing? Stuff. So and my friend laughed. He says, why'd you say that? I says, because he doesn't get it, And I says, like, you just need to sometimes give some of these guys tough love, especially since most of them are used to being spoon-fed. And that's not going to work either. Like if these people really want to get better, they want to be up there and be able to say, I beat Justin Wong or something like that. And I remember before people would think they never beat him. So did you see how Steve acted on the stage? When he beat him, like that like the feels was like on another level and stuff. But it's just like you got other people like, man, like I want that to be me. Well, that's not going to be you if you keep getting mad about
shit up
and you don't step your shit up. It's just that simple. It's just not happening.
Right.
So I think that as a whole, all the luminaries, if you want to call them that, to a degree need to be a little bolder with them, and I get the fact why some of them are very cordial about it, because you get people like, man, I just talked to Mike Ross, man. He was a dick when I asked him, like, what should I do with Honda? And I get it and stuff, but if you start to build a rapport, then you can kind of go in a little bit more and like, nah, you're playing like a nut. Yeah. You need to change up.
Yeah.
I just want to see our generation as a whole get better. And I think to a degree that we have, but I think as far as just talking about North America right now, I think we as a whole, we have so many bad habits, we have so many bad attitudes, and we have so much of a lack of unity. And here's where I go in and basically say I was pretty embarrassed for my coast because we got bodied so badly against the guys and Wednesday night fights. Like Alex,
the exhibition you were talking about.
That wasn't an exhibition. That was a massacre. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was good that it happened because I'm hoping what it basically did, if Henry's holding true to his words, to basically make it so that the coast gets properly developed. Because when I first met like Cole and all of them, man, the reason why I knew these guys did so better after I started to analyze a little bit more is because those guys played as a unit. They shared technology. They did things. They trained really well. They really grinded. So they would just come in back when we used to, and he would tell you on the stream, they would come into the East Coast Championships down in Dunellen. They would, beat us senseless. So they would come to Chinatown Fair before we went to that. And then we'd be like, damn, why are we losing? I mean, we were so caught up with all these damn egos and stuff that as good as that we were and stuff, it was just because of the fact we were just so full of ourselves and stuff that we just constantly got bodied and stuff. And like when we saw Evo, and you can say what you want and say, oh, because they're just better players. It's like, no, it has nothing to do with it. Because really, if they had to do it again on equal footing, if they did the same type of training sessions, those matches should have been a lot more even. I mean, we're talking about Smug coming in and pretty much bopping Momochi. Then he goes to Evo, and it's just like, damn, what happened?
Right. No, definitely.
So it's like, damn, and I don't want to see that, like, especially when it comes to like when it's in U.S. versus Japan, U.S. versus France, U.S. versus whoever. It's like, damn, why are we not winning? So we really need to take the egos down a couple of notches, bring it back to level 1, work as units, train, be more humble, and level up. Or we're always going to keep getting bodied.
Chris, you're preaching to the choir.
I know, man, but I'm going to preach it again.
Like, I mean, what you're
Put
saying
your
right now.
Put your hands on the radio.
Until we get the results, I'm going to preach it again.
No, I mean, exactly. That's I agree completely and wholeheartedly with what you're saying. And again, when I had Cole on here, he said the same thing. But it none of this has happened yet.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to try and do my part then.
I mean that's what part of a community is. Everybody has to do their part. I mean, if you feel that you can, hell, I mean, grab a couple of players for a couple of level up sessions, especially if it's on a regular schedule. That's gonna have players improve.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these now like the tri-state area's got like the big, not the big twos, like the battle circuits and all that stuff. But it's like people are just mostly there for the tournaments.
Team buying in-house chaos now, so there's other stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, I believe the House of Chaos is. It's gotten tri-state players up there, especially in Marvel, because I like to watch the Marvel streams a lot.
Bum's been doing his work. He's been grinding hard, man. And he always has. That's how a lot of the OG Marvel heads got better and stuff. Is because Bum will bring those guys up in there, and they, and Josh Wigfall and Mike Devine and Eddie Lee and all them, they all used to like sit there and train up with those guys all the time. And Elijah, all them, like So I mean, he's more of an icon that people give him credit for and stuff. He's definitely that's the lap monster right there.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
He's really solid.
Especially since he's taking his crew. I mean, again, this guy holds his. I'm talking about Bun, by the way. Like he holds his sessions, in an apartment. Now starting to branch out into actual local venues for people to come out, hang out, level up, and all that stuff. Hopefully, I get to see this guy as actually a premier, tournament organizer one of these days, because he really has taken, a group of kids. I'm not gonna say kids, but a small group of Marvel players, Street Fighter players, and now just look, you have people like Coach Steve and Ray taking top 8 at EVO.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could not have wished for better progress than that.
Yeah, and he's one, and I told him I was like super proud of him and stuff, and that's the perfect example of that and stuff. Not saying the guy was never good and stuff like that, but is someone that was solid and basically was trying to make that breakthrough. And initially struggled and stuff, with it for a while, because he's been going back and forth in like battle circuit, and then he basically just takes it to another level, and then finally gets the Evo, and and that's how it starts. You have to set those goals and stuff. You have to apply them stuff, and you have to grind and stuff. So unfortunately, it's not a surprise because Steve, really puts his heart into it. Steve really grinds. He's very devoted and stuff. He's a very passionate person and stuff. You got a lot of these people and stuff where they quantify their development solely just on wins. Well, I didn't win in this session, so I guess I'm not learning. Well, that's to a degree, yes and no, because if you're playing a little bit more solid and you're not giving out perfects and stuff, and now the matches are much tighter and tighter. Even if you're losing, it's still progress.
Yeah.
But I'll have people that basically play and they're like, "Oops, I guess I'm not playing anymore because I just got body 10-1." Well, did you learn anything though? Did you focus anything about the matchup? What this tendencies did you eliminate? Did you make me have to work harder and stuff? Those are things you have to look at. And I myself have been guilty of that. Sometimes I'm still guilty of it. So when I see it and stuff, I already know what to look for and stuff because I'm guilty of that myself.
I think it's just sort of funny, though, how whenever you're trying to learn and do better, and then you're playing against somebody, and then they're doing different things, that are I don't even know how to say it, but it's like you're trying to counter whatever the heck it is that they're doing, and then the next thing you know.
You're dead.
It's kind of hard to explain. It's like then the next thing you know, they're doing something else. Do you know what I mean? It's just it's sort of weird. Like
that happens to me when I play my boy. He plays Abel, and I just say, "Well, he's derpy," and I get hit with these 50-50 mix-ups, and it's like I see what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's like I see what happened. I had to stick there. I know I can make the decisions, and I get hit. Yeah. Then I get grabbed. Then I get mixed up. Then I'm stunned. Then I'm dead. KO. I'm like, oh. All right, I guess I'll try next round, And it's like, but it's experience and stuff. And it's at that point, then I would be like, what am I doing wrong? Am I just not reacting, whatever and stuff? But I try at the same time, and this should go without saying, it's a game.
Yeah.
We get so wrapped up into it. We get so competitive and stuff, and we forget that hopefully you didn't bet your rent money on it or something like that. And so it's like, okay, that's fine. I lost. I'll take a break. It's cool. You know, but I want to see people get better and stuff. Ultra's like, there's really no excuses to a degree because in a sense, Ultra is a new game.
Right.
The matches have been changed up. There's been significant buffs and nerfs. Some people are for it. Some people are not. I know Jason's not fond of like Fei Long's stuff, but I mean, it is what it is, Vega's like really solid. I think I might even pick him up and stuff, but it's just like, you gotta remember you're supposed to be having fun.
Yeah.
The whole reason why we got into this is because we wanted to share the passion about that. And I think sometimes we forget that, and that's why I like having the outlet to do photography and not feel like the only way I can appreciate being with the community is competing against people in the community.
Yeah, definitely.
I like the fact I can take a step back, even though there were times I was like, forget this. I was like, I'm tired of shooting photos, and I ran up and I just played some casuals, and I hit a couple people or got hit. I actually lost to Noah. Didn't understand that, but I was like, all right. I was like, all right, kid. I was like, it's cool.
Whatever.
It's cool.
Whatever.
It's whatever. I'm having fun. I'm in Vegas. I was like, it's whatever. And I gave him a pound. And I was like, I'm all right. I'm gonna move on.
That's another thing that I wanted to touch base on, especially since we're talking about like leveling up and staying dedicated. Is that some people are just so emotionally invested into just the competition. That can be a good thing or a bad thing because, I mean, if you're the guy who just get riled up after like a couple of rounds lost or a couple of matches lost, and then you're just like, man, screw this game, I hate it, it's just gonna negatively impact you. I mean, you're not gonna get any better because you're refusing to even like you're just completely dropping the subject. Like you're not analyzing what you done, what he did, what you could have done, like the many options that that you had laid out in front of you, just like, completely giving up.
Right.
It's just whatever.
That's like one thing I have to say that I definitely used to play emotionally, and now I'm kind of just like, what, especially when I play online. When I used to play online, I thought, oh man, I hope, I do well. I hope I win, all these different things. And, with all the lag and everything else and, not being able to actually complete all the things that I need to do. And I'm just like, you know what? If I win, that's great. If I lose, I don't care.
Yeah. And you have, I'm glad you mentioned that because like I said, I'm deliberately putting myself actually out there on blast and stuff because I went there and stuff. Cole would basically tell you when I first met Cole, I probably was had one of the biggest egos and stuff, probably next to Sanford and stuff in the East Coast and stuff because I always wanted to win. And if I lost, I was like, damn, and I would make a million excuses why I lost and stuff. I was never really honest with myself. And it's like I had to win every single damn time. And then even when Street Fighter 4 came around, I came back. I still got mad. I was like, why am I losing? I was like, this guy's bad. Like, why am I losing? Like, I just couldn't, and I didn't break sticks, but I just got so mad and stuff that, that all of a sudden my whole day was ruined because of some Ryu 2688 beat me and stuff with some random crap that I never, would never lose to. And I would just like, well, I guess randoms beat top tiers. I guess that's how it works and stuff. And I would hold that out. And now I look at it and I just say, you know what? It is what it is. I play more solid now, but when I lose, I just try to not let myself get that enraged because it's not worth it.
You can't.
And I don't know. I don't have the Ricky gem, or the gene rather, where when I get, there are some occasions when I get mad, I play better, but sometimes that works against me. So anger and stuff is not going to help you and stuff.
Yeah.
If you're not analyzing the match, it's just you're just going to play more recklessly and whatever. And I had that yesterday with a friend where he wanted to learn the Gal matchup, and he just couldn't get it. He's like, I'm teching, I'm doing this, and even though he wasn't with me, I couldn't see him. I could see it on the screen.
Right.
And and that's the whole funny thing too. When I was trying to even tell one of these guys, it was just like, you have to make sure when you play your opponent, especially if they're new, they're just as nervous as you are. And all you need to do is play solid. You need to believe in yourself, what's your matchup, and you do that. And if you do that, you play correctly, you can break that person. And that's exactly what this guy did and stuff. He was supposed to lose to Seth. He didn't lose to him. Don't know why he won. He should have lost. But he ended up winning and stuff because he was solid enough where the guy came in and figured, okay, I can just do some derpy stuff with Seth and I'll win and stuff. And my boy was like, nope, 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 nope. And then KO, he wins and he, guy got the tournament. It's just, see, there you go.
Good
You got to
stuff.
play solid. You got to be serene.
Yeah, these players need to focus on, more of getting in, especially getting into the head of your opponent as a sort of mix up and a mind game. That is really essential. I mean, it can work in both ways because of course you're supposed to be focusing on the matchup between one character A and character B.
Yes.
And but if it's someone that you don't necessarily believe is like a top player or whatever, and you can't play these mind games, like, okay, if I land this one gimmick, they're going to be afraid to up back for like the rest of the match. That's fine. But then again, people need to be on guard because there are these really good players that come out of the woodwork, and it's been happening a lot recently in like the past 2 years, where we see, who this random. We're gonna call them randoms because that's what people always say. You get
until you beat him, and then you're somebody.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, you go 0-2, let's say first round against some random, right? But then that random goes on to make top 8 at that major.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's been happening so much recently that it's like I think someone fed during EVO 2014. Someone fed Ultra David the wrong information about Daigo got eliminated by Shinakuma 666, and now there are people that are like,
where was this EVO?
This was at EVO. Like,
oh yeah, I heard about that, and I was like, what? That's why I didn't tweet it yet. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. But it's like everybody was like, oh yeah, wait, what the wait, Daigo lost to that, but.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people are just all like, you know what? It could happen.
It could happen. Because not everybody... The thing is and stuff, because I even got almost caught in that mindset where, believe it or not, there are plenty of people that are just as skilled as Daigo or Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go to tournaments. They don't want to go to tournaments. But they're good.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know who... Like say the Team Pi guys. I didn't know who they were until just recently. The Zeus, like one of the best Vegas. Like I've never heard of him until he won Defender North.
Yep.
I hadn't heard of Smug until I don't know. I mean, I really hadn't heard of him until recently. Like there are a lot of these kids, especially the Team Pi and otherwise, especially people in the West Coast that just come out of the woodworks and just completely wreck people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And much like Midwest and East Coast. I mean, we have our like our sleepers, and honestly, for one reason or another, they don't want to go to tournaments and stuff. It's either because of the stuff they've seen or heard. It's like, nah, forget this. I don't want to go. But there are more competent people, and I think a lot of us are willing to give the randoms credit for. Mm-hmm. So that's why I forgot who I was talking to, where someone was just like. Even then, you really want to make sure you keep your guard up and stuff because it's the one time you play that person. It could be the next prodigy or something like that, So you have to just basically treat the matchup for what it is, and but above all, just like you have to try really hard not to psych yourself out because you're facing a known player and stuff. Just try if you know the matchup well, just do your best and stuff. If you automatically go, well, it's Filipino champ. I guess I'm going to lose. Well, then you are going to lose. Badly.
Yeah. Definitely.
So just do your best. So just I always try to tell people, I'm like, look, if you got to lose, then lose playing solid. Don't lose playing like a nut and a random, thinking that if you do that, you're going to like magically perfect him or just that's just play solid.
Oh, of course, dude.
It's the best event, but nah, Evo was ridiculous, man. Like I said, literally 12 hours of sleep. I'm not even exaggerating because there were literally 2 nights. Where I watched the sun come up and I was like, oh, okay. And I'm seeing Spooky and people going to the ballroom. And I'm like, I should probably go to sleep. And I went back to Curtis, the guy from does the beads and stuff and his wife. And I'm talking to him and he's like, yeah, what's going on? I was like, oh, well, we're about to head out. And he says, well, I'm not going to sleep. And then I remember him actually talking to me and I was just nodding my head. I had closed my eyes and I was like, yep, I hear you. And I had the conversation.
Yeah.
Sleep, and then I woke up and it was like, oh yeah, they were gone. Like, oh damn, and they made fun of me when I saw them too. So It was pretty funny.
I mean, yeah, that's what happens when you go to majors, man. There's so many things that happen at the same time that you really don't want to miss any sort of moment there.
Yeah, I just did not want to sleep, and I know people don't know it because like one of those days was finals days.
Yeah.
I think I went to sleep around 6, and I think I literally slept for maybe 2.5, 3 hours. Then went back to the ballroom, went through the whole entire finals with no sleep. So you will not find pictures of me on FGC body because I was not sleeping. And took all those photos. It was not until I actually got back home, about the day after, that's when my body says, "Yeah, now you're gonna get bodied," and then I started really feeling it.
That's like every time I go to Evo because you play, and then all your friends want you to watch them play.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you've got, whoever's in a money match room and you're meeting up with everybody. And then people are going out and drinking. And the next thing you know, it's 6 a.m. And you're thinking, God, I got to go to sleep. But somebody's playing at 8 a.m. and they want to watch, they want you to watch them play. And you're thinking, God, so every time I come home from Evo, I'm always pretty sick. And
Yes,
I
Evo
lose a
battles.
pile of weight,
Yep.
and I'm ready to die. I swear to God, every time I go to Evo, I'm pretty close near death's door because I don't even know. I've picked up some little things that I try to do now at bigger tournaments, at majors that sort of help keep me going. Like as soon as I wake up, I'll take a vitamin.
Yeah.
And somewhat halfway through the day, I'll take another vitamin. And every time I sit down to eat, I try to eat as much as I can because you're only going to eat once.
Yeah.
And that's it because you're always like, oh, okay, I'll go eat after this or I'll go eat later. There's no later. You're only going to eat once.
I tried to get Joe to, I think it was Marvel, and because there was a little dessert place.
Yeah.
And I saw I had some food. I look over to Joe and I was like, Joe, can you grab me something? And he just gave me this look. He's like, are you serious? He's like, fuck no. Like, I'm not, and it was already crowded. That's why. If you see the shots of that, he's like, do you see where do you see this? And I was like, Joe, I'm sorry. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? I'm sorry. I was like, I guess I'm just not going to eat right now because I didn't want to give my spot either. So I was like, I'll eat afterwards and stuff. And that's exactly what happens and stuff. You eat one time, and if you do eat, you better get a big meal.
Yeah, that's it.
Because if it's finals days, you're not getting up.
That's right.
It's just not happening. Just accept the fact you're not eating for the rest. You're not eating for eight hours.
That's right.
Unless you got a friend that they're going to hand deliver to you. And unfortunately, my swag was not that good, so that I was not getting any hand deliveries or any food. I was like, damn, I guess I'm going to have to hold it and just dream of me eating food and stuff. Because, and plus I was taking photos. If I was not taking photos, I probably would have been like, okay, I'll sit on the sideline. But I was in this little stage, shout outs to Cannons and Wiz for, allowing me to plant my butt right where I need to be to get the shots that some of you guys still haven't really seen yet. But when I looked at the crowd, I says, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That's not happening. So, yeah.
I was pretty lucky at Evo last year during the semifinals because, a lot of times I always fly back on the finals so I can get back to work on Monday.
Right.
I know.
Yeah,
but I was sitting next to this guy, and he had a backpack full of beer. He's like, you want a beer? I said, yeah. It was
that's
great.
smart of him.
Man, it was awesome. I was like, oh my goodness. And then I saw him again at Civil War.
Whoa.
I was like, oh my God, this is great. I was like, do you have any more beer? He goes, no. I was like, oh, jeez.
It's your new best friend.
It was really good.
Now, next year, I'm bringing little snacks and stuff or whatever. So
Yeah, that's what I do. You know what I bring are those, a box of those dollar Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
I'll pack a couple of those. I'll pack a couple granola bars.
Yep.
Things that you don't have to heat up.
Some Scooby snacks.
Well, I'm bringing a flask. That's about all you can get out of me.
Yeah, you can.
I saw some of that too. sort some of that.
Don't share drinks with anybody. That's a guarantee of getting
Well,
sick.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't do that shit. No.
that's a whole discussion in itself.
That's not good.
Actually, the fun levels were not bad. I can't complain about that. It was actually not bad. So no, but it was good. Anybody that has been skeptical about going to Evo should definitely consider going next year. I'm hoping it's actually at the same location. And I'm hoping that it's at the same level, like the same excitement level that it was this year, because I totally enjoy myself. I mean, yeah, it's nice to watch on the stream, but if if you guys are sitting at home watching it and you can imagine being in the ballroom, yeah, it was just crazy, man.
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave, and I told me, I was like, this is awesome. I was like, this is why you come to Evo, And we can say how there's other events, because last year before that, or last week I was talking about CEO, and someone was like, well, what do you like better? And I said, don't ask me that, because you can't compare them. Like, CEO is CEO and Evo is Evo.
Which is, that's a completely respectable, thing to say,
Yeah. And plus, I don't want Alex to. I'm like on Alex's best friends list. I like to stay there. So,
But basically, basically the premise of the Evo, and even though people always say this, the whole phrase "you had to be there,"
yeah,
there's no kidding about that.
yeah. But I feel the same thing about his event and stuff. Like that's before you get like his events literally like that. As like it sets the stage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before you get to that, so it's almost like it's like mandatory almost that you go there, because then it's just like Evo is just like, if people go to the CEO, that's where all the rivalries and any salt that happened from CEO, it's going to continue there and stuff. It happens at that moment. So it's like, and this is the first time I've ever gone to back-to-back majors. So after I went there, and I was going back and forth, and of course people thought I was trolling. It's like, Bond's not going to go, and I was like, no, I really want to go. And I've never done that before in the history of my time in here, and I was glad that I did. Would I do it again? Hell yeah! If I had the time and the money, you can bet I will be at CEO, and I will also be at Evo. Hands down.
Awesome.
Good stuff, dude.
So I got to take the photos.
So, you have almost over 3,000 of these Evo 2014 photos. So when's an estimated amount of time? Now, again, I know you can work at your own pace, but a lot of people are itching to see these sort of videos. I mean, photos.
I have some videos, but I'm not gonna put any together, only because I was a little disappointed, because I did have an idea that I wanted to do. The photos. The photos are definitely going to happen. The video, I might be able to put something together, but I wasn't. It's just because of all the photos I wanted to capture, and that's really hard itself to try to wear multiple hats. So I just says, you know what? Let me just take the best damn photos I can do. So answer to that question, I should be done with the photos before August is here, because yes, I took 3,000 photos. No, you will not see 3,000 photos up in the thing. No one takes that many. Carrot Face didn't even take that many. It gets to a point where you see there are a lot of bad shots and whatever. Even though Joey literally told me, look, I want to see your leftover shots, because there's probably stuff that has some value that you don't think does. So when he told me that, I actually went in, and some of the shots I put up, like, to me, some of the shots I put up yesterday, I didn't think were at the level that I normally would deliver.
Right.
Because I like them to have a certain layer of crispness and clarity, and there's just a standard I like. So I've already raised my standards. I looked at him, I says, I don't like these. And then when he wrote that, I says, all right, you know what? I'll let these go. These I can kind of work with. And then I have the next 2 days off. So all I'm gonna be doing, like, I'll spend a little time with the daughter, and then I'm just gonna be going in and doing these photos and stuff like that, because I want to put them up, but it's like there's no quick button that I hit with a preset, and even then I still go in and I tweak them and stuff, and that takes time.
Yeah.
So it's going to take me at least, by the time August is done, that'll be done. And since there's no real big majors until TFC, which is I'm probably going to be there for one reason or another, I'm chilling. Because then after I finish Evo, then it's CEO. So people will be getting hit with photos for the next several weeks to come.
All right, well, you heard it from here first. Again, extended or expected, estimated estimation. Wow, I'm kind of tired. The end of August. You'll see all these pictures from Put That Back again, ptbpro.org if you want to keep up with the amount of photos that are going to be uploaded over time.
Yep. Or you can go on Facebook, because I know some people are kind of lazy. They want to instantly be able to put them in their photos. So even though I said I wasn't going to end up doing, I said, all right, fine. I will continue to support the photos on Facebook because it is kind of hard to stop, other sources from potentially taking stuff. I mean, it is what it is. I said I'll still use it. So, you can still go to facebook.com/put that back. Every photo that you see on PTB Pro is also there. So this way, if you want to take the photos and be able to share them, you can do that. If you want to appreciate slightly better quality and stuff, because Facebook tends to nerf the quality a bit, then you can go there. Either way, if you like it, post to me, tweet it out, something, Markman and Skullgirls, showed a lot of love to me and stuff last week and stuff. On a whim, I just walked up to them and I said, hey, look, can I shoot? Because I saw no one there. And I was really glad I did and stuff. So they're really appreciative of that. And I still have a few more photos that are coming to them. But if you like my stuff, I don't highly enforce it and stuff because, it is what it is. But if you take the photo, you like it, you want to make it your profile photo, all I really ask is you acknowledge that I took it. You actually, you put an image in there thinking Chris Bond, I'll put that back. Because other people look at it and they want to know where it came from. And more times than one, and they want to potentially have a photo in there and stuff. So I want to be able to have that source going back to me. And then that definitely gives me the incentive and inspiration to try to do it in the future. So, I mean, to me, that's just a small token of thanks for you actually just taking the photo. Obviously, if you're using it, but I just like to see that little small acknowledgement and stuff. So that's pretty much that. Eventually you guys will be able to buy the photos. I'm still working on that. And like I told you guys before, I have something that I'm looking to put together. I'm not ready to totally announce and go public because I have to think about how I'm going to do it. And if I do it, I will probably print out a couple of copies and we'll go from there. But I'm not ready to disclose that just yet.
Well, big things.
Try not to troll like Ono, making an announcement that's just an announcement. But it's a little teaser.
All right. Well, speaking of teasers, again, you have really good, really big things headed your way, especially when it comes to, actually selling your work, because these aren't of the highest quality, or that they could be, or that they were when you originally took them. Mm-hmm. So that's exciting. So just speaking of announcements, Meter Burn is going to have a special announcement on our next session, which will be August 5th. So mark that calendar. Please hit that follow button just so you can keep up to date on whenever we stream and whatnot. Again, you can follow me at DBlacktastic. My co-host Katie at Cujo Kate. That's Cujo_Kate. And you can always follow my main man, Mr. Chris Bond of Put That Back at Bonism, BAHN ism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Shout outs to Alpha 3.
Shout outs. That's
where it's from.
That's nice. Mm-hmm. It is getting a bit late in the night here, and I gotta get to sleep because I do have work at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That sucks.
It really does. But I'm gonna have some final shout-outs.
I sleep.
I'm gonna have a couple of final shout-outs. So, Chris, if you want to go first, man.
I say it all too many times. I said it again, in case you guys didn't know, because there is an upcoming interview, and I give shout-outs. So I will take the time to do it live. I really do appreciate all the love and attention I've been getting and stuff. I'm still growing as a photographer. I don't think I'm the best by any means and stuff. I'm still learning, but all the attention that I get when I have people walking up to me and tell me in person, when I see the likes and see the shares, I see the profile photos, that really means a lot to me and stuff, because all I've ever wanted was to try to bring something positive, constructive back to the community, and I've been able to channel that. But there's obviously still a lot of people that are totally unaware of that. They only happen to know by association. So yeah, if you like the stuff, if you feel we do good work, invite other people on your Facebook page to like the page. Worst case scenario is they'll say, yeah, you know what, I already got the guy, keep up. But, definitely share the page and stuff because, we're definitely looking to do more. We do have an editorial division, which kind of took a backseat to Evo. So I apologize to those people that are used to, reading our content. There's still so much more I'm trying to do on that end and build it up. So, you'll still be seeing more of that. There's a lot of things we're trying to do. It's not just photography that I do as well. I do write. So make sure that if you haven't done so already, go to putthatback.org, which is totally different than Put That PTB Pro, because PTB Pro is the portfolio page. We do like content as far as editorial content. My man Dayasha from the FNEX likes to do some really bang up videos. I also got these other guys and stuff, Brandon Jumper and A-Train, to do some stuff, which we're looking to grind back in there. We're going to be launching some other little things. So please go to the website. I know it's been a little slow, but it's not dead. And also, if you want, you can follow me on Twitter. I totally appreciate that. You can follow me directly at, like Bobby was saying, at Bonism. I will also, because someone told me it was a good idea, I will also be launching an Instagram. So look forward to PTB officially getting an Instagram. I will probably have that launched before the end of the week. So once I do that, if you already follow me on Facebook or Twitter or the PTB page, I will announce it on all 3 channels so you don't miss that. But yeah, I just appreciate all the love and stuff. It really does mean a lot to me and stuff. It helps keep me going. So thank you.
Awesome.
Again, I want to thank you, especially for being on here with us, sharing these moments that you captured through your photos at EVO 2014, especially for, and just talking about the game, the community in general, because I definitely love having you on here and just, shooting the shit about, what we need to do to get better, especially in our respective regional communities. It's really great.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Katie, you got anything to say before we head off?
Just keep up the good work, everybody.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Miss
tired,
Cujo.
I'm gonna go to sleep. Lights out for me.
Oh yeah, you gotta wake up fairly early for work too.
Ah.
But yeah, guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Saw a lot of numbers, saw a lot of questions and comments, and
Yes.
a lot of good information to get the gears grinding. So I hope we can do it again.
Yes, feedback is always good. Love that.
Yeah. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, I will be throwing up a Meter Burn Facebook page and a Meter Burn Twitter, so that we can get in contact with you guys. But for now, if you wanna just drop us a line at the Blacktastic on Twitter, at Cujo_Kate on Twitter, be really appreciated. I want to see the type of things that we can do to keep you guys here. A lot of criticism or suggestions and otherwise. Again, I'm new to this. I've been just manning this since we started, but I would love to see what you guys would actually want. And again, our next session will be on August 5th, so it's every 2 weeks. I think that's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty tired here, but
Good night, everybody.
alright, guys, thanks for tuning in. But before we go, the On Blast show was originally scheduled to be on at 10 p.m. Eastern. James MK has not gotten back from VXG. I think he's currently still with his layover in Charlotte. So the estimated time that he wanted to start streaming would be 1 a.m.
Ooh.
I
don't know how he does it.
I don't.
That's like last week I was on the On Blast show. I stayed on until like 1:30, 2 in the morning. Like I was really pushing it.
Yeah.
And man, he was still like full force. Like all these people were coming in, talking about things, going. I was like, I don't know how you guys do it. I mean, it's amazing.
I love it. I love his show. It's a bit of like the late night special again. Yeah, I was on there for a good bit, and
Yeah.
we went on until like 3, 4 in the morning, just shooting random shit. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you have to give credit to the guy. who does this on a weekly basis, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
So, I hope James, flies in safely. Hope there are no other delays so that you guys may enjoy another episode of the On Blast show. But for Meter Burn, I'm out. We're all out. We're going to bed. We'll see you guys later. Ta-ta for now.
Bye. We'll see ya. Thank you.